Hello and welcome to History 3140, the American West, 1783 to 1890. My name is Dr. James MacDonald. I'm the instructor for the class. And what I'd like to do in this brief video introduction is review the syllabus, take a look at Moodle, and tell you a little about the course expectations. This is a pretty fast-moving class because we're going through over a century of the American West from the time of American independence until the formal closing of the frontier in 1890. So let's get into a little bit of detail about the books and a little bit about the readings and the assignments that we posted up in Moodle. Obviously, you're probably aware of some of the challenges with the books this semester. I'm not going to get into that right now because we're still figuring it out, other than to show you the two books. Now, the American West will be, hopefully very soon, a part of the Include Ed. And so that is your main textbook, the book on the left. So that is our semester-wide textbook, and you're going to be reading most of that book over the course of the semester. The book on the right is our second book. It's a supplementary book, and it's a really interesting story of Quanah Parker, one of the last important uh, leaders of the Comanche Nation during the 1800s. So this was a book that was really eye-opening when it talked about the Comanche as a people and a lot of their history. It's a very readable book, and you'll be responsible for a short response paper that will be based on that book. So the assignment will be posted, and then you'll be reading the book in the course of the semester. So right now, you don't need the Gwynn book. Gwynn is the author of that book right away. You'll need that towards the later part of the semester. Now, that book is not part of Include Ed, so you're going to be getting an email about the book and purchasing it through the bookstore or picking it up or whatever the case may be, depending on where you are as far as near Natchitoches. So, for now, in the immediate few days, we need to start making sure that we get the American West book. Okay, so that's all about the books. Now we'll go back and talk a little bit about the syllabus and some of the things you'll see in Moodle as soon as I pull that up. There we go. Okay, so I'm in Kaiser Hall, but this is an internet class, so most of you are going to contact me through email. Make sure you spell my name correctly. It is MAC, it's MacDonald. And then when you do contact me, somewhere in the email, maybe in the subject line, please put your class. In this case, just put American West 3140. I have a lot of classes this semester, and just putting your name and your problem isn't good enough. You need to identify what class you're in. I'm not, for a while, going to know every student in every section. So just do that as a favor to me. And also, I think it's a good policy for your other classes. Your instructors and professors are going to be really grateful that you took the time to do that. So we talked about the books. There's two. We talked about the class description and the objectives. We're going to talk about the West as a place of memory, as a place that did exist. The West from the North and the South and the East and the West. It's not just a clean progression across the continent, as you're going to very quickly find out. So it should, I think, change your perspective on this area. It's a contested region of the continent. And sorry, to supplement the readings, what I'm going to do in the course of the semester is place audio lectures in Moodle. So just areas that I think need some more emphasis, and it's recordings that I've done. So what you're going to have is a link to an actual YouTube video. A lot of these were recorded in Stream and other ways that we did the recordings, but to make it easy and to add the closed captioning, I'm going to upload them into Moodle. So most of that's been done already, and you'll see the schedule for the audio lectures and the video lectures on the syllabus. Okay, Talked about that we have two textbooks. The first one, the main text, we'll be using throughout the semester, usually reading one or two chapters at a time, as it applies to the topics that we deal with in the American West. Okay, so the testing part and the grade come together with three exams. Now, the exams will be administered obviously in Moodle. There will be multiple choice, and they'll have 25 multiple choice questions. So you'll have a block of time, usually 3 days, to complete the exam. The exam schedule will be right there on the syllabus, and also it will be placed in Moodle the week that the exam is due. In addition to the three exams, you're going to have one 2-page response paper. So it's not going to be a standard review of the book, because book reviews often turn into book reports where you give me a lot of summary, which I don't need. So there's going to be a couple of specific questions by which you'll need to choose one. And that assignment will be up way ahead of the due date. So you'll be able to look at that question that you're going to choose to answer and consider it as you're reading the whole book. So I've kind of put some of the chapters of the book up there for you to keep kind of an even pace. You don't want to read the book like right before you have to write the paper. It's a lot. It's a substantial book. And so you're going to want to space out your reading so you're not, hating the book and reading everything super fast and not kind of contemplating the different issues that the author Gwynne talks about. So there you have it. It's three 100-point exams. None of them are comprehensive. And the short response paper. So I will tell you in the announcement for the exam what you're responsible for every exam. Put up some big topics, some things to think about as you do the reading, so that you're not ever, kind of unclear about what material we're going to cover for every exam. Okay, so that'll be up there for you to look at in Moodle. Okay, all of the university policies and the syllabus are placed here. I'm going to scroll through those until we get to the class schedule. So the first week, pretty straightforward. We'll have the introduction, which I'm doing right now. Yes, it's important that you read the introduction of the book because it tells you a little bit about the perspective of the authors and what they want to stress. The intro is often that part of the book where everyone's like, yeah, I'll just skip it, move on. It's like the conclusion, no big deal. But yeah, it is important to read the intro. So when we do get access to that book, and that will be soon, take a look at that. It's going to give you the framework by which the authors have put together how the text is organized. And a lot of this book, I know it's a class that's supposed to start in 1783. I just don't know how you jump with both feet in and not talk about the West before, European contact, meaning Columbus and other explorers, those who followed from the different European nations. So the West is really a unique place, and it's a place that was where rival empires tried to exert their control, and where the indigenous people also tried to maintain control and set their own destiny when they saw this challenge coming from Europeans moving into the land that they had known no one else was there except the challenges from their own fellow Native American groups. So take a look at that intro. It's not something you just blow off. The second week, I'm going to have an audio lecture, which will probably be more of a video lecture on the historiography, which is, as the week 2 title accurately says, the history of the West. So history goes through these different interpretations depending on when it's written. You'll see that in every class, and certainly in every upper level class that you take. So that's something that I'm going to stress in that audio lecture. So that's one of those supplementary lectures that you'll see there in Moodle, and you'll go to click on that and watch it. I'm not going to go through every week of the syllabus here, other than to highlight that every few weeks you will, in addition to the reading, have these audio lectures. Week 4, we've got something about President Washington, a very, I think, little known and underappreciated element of his presidency is that he tried to put together a significant Indian policy for the infant United States, one that utterly failed, but one that he thought would be tied to his legacy and that of the founders. So that's a lecture I put together. That's a lecture that you'll need to view. Week 5, we have the first exam. Again, in Moodle, you'll see what material is fair game for the exam, and then you'll see some of the like big issues you need to focus in on when you do the reading. Also, when you do the watching and listening to the lectures, you can see that I also put up the suggested reading for the Gwyn book. That's just a way for you to not really fall behind, because you want to make sure you're reading at a pretty even clip, and you're not just desperately reading every chapter by the time you get to the paper. So we've got the exam schedule placed here. You can see that at week 11, the paper is due for the Gwyn book. The last exam of the semester that'll happen during finals week, it's not based on the whole semester, meaning it's not comprehensive. It's just basically the material from, and you can see down here, it's based on several chapters in the American West textbook, along with the Real Wild West lecture, as I call it. That's another supplementary one that I place on there. So you can see that there's lectures that I've done, like Jefferson's West, week 6, Aaron Burr in West Florida. Again, just an area you may not know a lot about, but I think is important. The Great Migration, basically forced movement of uh, slaves to the American Southwest, areas of Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, in the aftermath of the War of 1812, and the Missouri Crisis, which is very important and significant for the question of how the West would develop. Would slavery move to the American West or not? Could Congress actually regulate slavery in the territories? This was the first significant territory carved out of the Louisiana Purchase, and that ties directly to Jefferson's West. So basically, that's the course schedule as best as we're going to try to follow it. This is a self-guided class. You need to keep up with the work on your own. There's no one going to be looking over your shoulder, making sure that you complete the tasks. So you need to do that on your own. So 2 books, I don't think that's a tremendous amount of reading. I think it's fairly balanced over the course of the semester. Usually I try to lighten up the reading of the textbook as you're reading Gwyn's Empire of the Summer Moon. A book I think you really will enjoy. I don't assign books and have students just say, this is terrible. Oh gosh, please don't make anyone else read it. If that's the case, I'll pull the book and replace it with something else. But the first time this was assigned, I think students enjoyed it. And again, for me reading it, it was really eye-opening. And so I hope you get something out of that book as well. Once again, for that assignment, you need to write in your own words. Please don't use anything like the internets or putting something together with AI. Just make sure you use this as an opportunity to demonstrate your mastery in the material. So it's not going to be a summarizing the book. It's going to be an answer to a specific question. And I will post the assignment way ahead of the due date so that you'll be able to look at that and consider what question you'd like to answer in that 2-page response. Then we're going to use Turnitin to submit it as in a Dropbox for that particular assignment. So 1 paper, 3 exams. This is an upper level class. It's a little bit more demanding than your 1 and 2,000 level courses. But I think it's an important class that we haven't taught for a while. We're bringing it back. It's now online. And so we're trying to combine the best of an internet class for the sake of availability and accessibility for students, but also give you some structure to it with the readings, with the supplementary lectures that I placed in there. So once again, if you have any questions, concerns, problems, please don't hesitate to email me just somewhere in that email message. Tell me what class you're in, either the designation of the class 3140 or just the American West. And that would be great. I would appreciate it very much. I hope you enjoy the material, hope you enjoy the class content, and that you have a great fall semester.